Garrett Blevins here again, and this is a video continuing. We talked about this chart in the last video about rate of adaptation, potential, strength performance, and the need for training complexity. Now, how does this relate to powerlifting, and why do we care about this? Why wouldn't we use always advanced training, for example? If advanced training is what advanced athletes do, then it seems like, well, if I want to become an advanced athlete, I should train like one. This is one of the reasons that you shouldn't just look for cookie cutter programs of advanced athletes. You may look at what, a top level Dan Green, Brandon Lilly, Eric Lillibridge, what their training looks like, and then say to yourself, well, I guess I should just do that but with lighter weights. That way I'll get strong like they are. Well, that actually doesn't work. There's problems with that. And the problem with it is this rate of adaptation. If you started, let's say, using complex training when your rate of adaptation is high and you quickly adapt to that training complexity, where are you going to go from there? If you're already using advanced training and you've adapted to that when you're at a novice strength level, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? The same is true with volume-oriented programs. If your body needs a certain amount of volume because you've been doing high volume training early on to drive gains, where are you going to go from there if you're already doing a ton of volume and your body has adapted to it? This is why you want to slowly scale the amount of training complexity that you have in your program. Why use more complex training than you need to, or more volume intense training than you need to drive gains if you can get the strength gains extremely easily with a very simple program? And you can build training complexity into that simple program more easily than if you start with an advanced training program at the start. So let's talk about these: novice, intermediate, and advanced. These are terms that Mark Rippetoe uses to describe certain types of athletes and specifically how they recover from certain stressors. Now I'm going to give a more advanced video on stress to follow up after this one, but for our purposes we're going to talk about stress as a session in a workout, a single workout session. That's the stress that has to be recovered from. And so a novice athlete, an intermediate athlete, an advanced athlete all react to this differently, primarily because they can adapt to workout stimuluses at different rates. A novice athlete is going to be able to adapt to a workout stimulus in 48 to 72 hours. That means that if they work out on Monday and they do a 5x5 workout with 100 pounds on the bar, they are fully recovered and have manifested strength performance gains in 48 to 72 hours. What that looks like in a workout is on Wednesday, or 48 hours later, they can come in and do 105 pounds for 5 sets of 5, whereas they can only do 100 pounds for 5 sets of 5 on Monday. They have fully recovered and manifested their strength gains because they have adapted to that stimulus. Now, as you can see on the years, there's overlap between the different areas. This is because not everyone stays a novice or goes into the intermediate or advanced areas at the same time. And I'll talk more on that in a minute. So if a novice is recovering from workout to workout every 48 to 72 hours, an intermediate is able to recover from a workout stimulus, adapt to it, and manifest strength gains in about a week. That's the convenient, arbitrary line that's drawn. Again, you're not going to go one day, you're a novice athlete recovering in 2 days to, now it all of a sudden takes 7 days. That's going to happen on a gradual scale. It's going to take 3 days, then 4, then 5, then 6. But once it takes you about, I would say 6 to 9 days to recover from your workouts, workout to workout, and manifest strength gains through the adaptation to that stimulus, you're then an intermediate athlete. And then finally, an advanced athlete takes an entire month or more to recover and adapt, manifesting strength gains at the end from training stimulus. Now, this doesn't mean that a novice should train, once every 48 hours. An intermediate should train once every 7 days. And an advanced athlete should only train once a month. Obviously, you're going to detrain if you're not doing anything. And so the question becomes, how can I introduce a stimulus that is great enough to disrupt homeostasis, which is whatever your body is already at, just your baseline status, What can I do to disrupt that baseline to force my body to adapt, yet still have enough time to recover so that the strength gains come? Because if you don't have enough time to recover, you start overtraining and actually get weaker because your rate of adaptation is not adequate to the training stimulus you are introducing to the system. Again, more on that later. And this is the question that training complexity, training your plan, solves. Again, novice is going to be recovering and adapting, manifesting strength gains between every single workout. So they can, on Monday when they do 100, Wednesday they do 105, Friday they do 110, next Monday they do 115. They're able to use linear progression, not linear periodization, linear progression in their lifting. They can come in and do the same workout over and over again, but just add more and more weight because their rate of adaptation is so high. When rate of adaptation gets lower, over on the other side of the scale, advanced trainees are going to need to maybe use block periodization. They're going to have to really have much more complex training so that they can make some disruption of the homeostasis early in that cycle and then do enough work throughout the month where those gains manifest at the end. And as an advanced athlete gets more and more advanced, that month period turns into 2 months before they can show gains, 3 months before they can show gains. And that same gains, of the advanced athlete, at the end of the 3 months, they're maybe going from 600 pounds on the squat to 605. So it's the same amount of weight that the novice is able to put on in between workout to workout. They can put on the bar 5 pounds every workout, whereas the advanced is putting on 5 pounds on the bar extra every 3 to 6 months maybe. And that's the difference between different types of athletes. Now, one thing I'll say is it's important to notice, while I use those arbitrary numbers of 100 and 600, there are no hard and fast rules that's, okay, you lift this much weight, now you're an intermediate. Because intermediate or advanced is not determined by how much weight you lift, but rather how your body responds to training stimulus. My previous best total was 1873 raw without wraps. My actual body weight was about 231 and a half, but in the 242 pound weight class. So those are my best lifts. Those are advanced elite numbers. Those are terms that are thrown out there. Elite is kind of the stage that's kind of technically put beyond advanced, where you've reached the top 0.1% of the sport. However, for me personally, I'm still adapting to training like a late intermediate, early advanced. It takes me just about 2 weeks or so to recover from my workouts, no more than 3 weeks. In fact, what I use currently, the Cube system, functions on 3-week waves where there's a rep day, speed day, and a max effort day. And by the end of that cycle, I am recovered and ready to manifest gains. However, I like to put a couple of those blocks together so I give myself even a little bit more time to build up. One of the videos that will also be coming out will be a video on my personal history and what training that I have done throughout those changes from novice to intermediate to late intermediate, early advanced, where I am now, and how my body adapted differently at different times. A lot of people will ask me about my training, but that doesn't mean they should do the same training that I'm doing as a late intermediate, early advanced athlete. Even though I have an elite total, I'm not training like an elite lifter yet because I can manifest gains quicker. If you can manifest your gains quicker, then you should. And that's why a novice should be adding weight workout to workout. An intermediate should be adding weight week to week. And an advanced athlete should be adding it month to month. For me right now, that's about every 2 months. But I end up doing a little bit more than 5 pounds per lift. Usually it's closer to 10 to 15 pounds per lift every 2 to 2.5 months. Anyways, I hope that explains a little bit about what novice, intermediate, and advanced means as far as Mark Ripetoe's book is concerned. And I'll see you all in the next video. Blessings.